These are the guys that we think could possibly have a shot at the Heisman. At number 1, we got Mac Jones, the quarterback at Alabama. Kyle Trask is number 2, quarterback at Florida. And Trevor Lawrence is a quarterback at Clemson, and he's number 3. Harry, I'm going to ask you this because I feel like throughout this whole entire college football season, we've seen these guys oscillating 1, 2, 3, and Justin Fields has been thrown in there a few times also. Do you think right now at this point in the college football season with I think we have 3 more Saturdays to go, is Mac Jones the number 1 quarterback?
I don't think Mac Jones is. I think a lot of people want to give him number 1 because he had the more recent game that was better than Kyle Trask. But I think in totality, I think you have to look at Trask right now. And if we were trying to pick a Heisman winner today, based on the numbers, I think you have to look at what Kyle Trask has done and give it to him. And again, that's not taking away anything from Mac Jones. Mac Jones has been incredible this year. I think me and Trevor were laughing a few weeks ago about how his completion percentage was so good. It was like 72%, and I think it's up now to like 76%. I mean, this dude just doesn't miss. And so, with that said, he's a really, really great player, and I think he's exceeded expectations from a lot of people. I know I didn't expect Mac Jones to be this good coming into the season. I will admittedly say I thought he was going to be more of a game manager, and he's made me look like an idiot, which is awesome because it's been really fun to watch. But again, when you look at what Kyle Trask has done, I think we even had a graphic on it the last show. He's putting up almost Joe Burrow-like numbers, so I would have to go with him with the slight edge over Mac Jones in this situation.
Right, and where Trask, though, has the advantage is that he doesn't have as much help as Trevor Lawrence at Clemson or Mac Jones at Alabama. The Florida defense, not that great. The Florida running game is hit and miss. It'll show up sometimes it doesn't. So defenses focus on stopping Trask in that passing game first, and nobody's really been able to do it. This passing game is as explosive and devastating as any in all of college football. And part of the reason that Trask has such big numbers, he's got 34 touchdown passes. Among the players that are contending for the Heisman, number 2 is 26 for Zach Wilson. Mac Jones has 23, I think. So a lot more touchdown passes. But part of that is because the running game isn't scoring as many touchdowns. So on the one hand, it hurts him that defenses can focus on him because the running game not that great. On the other hand, it helps him because he's the guy that needs to pile up all the stats.
Both Mac Jones and Kyle Trask, I would say that people were not expecting this kind of performance out of them this season. But one guy that we were expecting a lot of out of this season is Trevor Lawrence. And I mean, he had 2 games where he didn't play, and maybe that kind of our recency bias kind of put him at the end of this conversation. But Trevor, do you feel like that has kind of hindered his Heisman hopes?
I think the thing that's hindered his Heisman hopes more than anything else, Christine, is that he's a victim of his own success. He has set the bar so high that that's just his normal. And where do you go from there? I mean, he is absolutely Heisman worthy. But in this race, his biggest problem is that he missed the Notre Dame game. That was the big Heisman moment opportunity. And not only did he miss that game, and his team lost it in double overtime to the Irish in South Bend, but his backup, true freshman, DJ Uiagalelei, threw for over 400 yards in that game. So, assuming that there is a rematch, which there probably will be in the ACC championship game, Trevor Lawrence will have to really do better than Uiagalelei did in South Bend.
So, Harry, what do you think you need to see out of Trevor Lawrence in order for him to move not only ahead of Kyle Trask, but also above Mac Jones in this conversation?
Listen, I agree with what Trevor said. He has been a victim of his own success. I think that we're going to have to see the absolute best Trevor Lawrence from here on out, which I think is possible. I mean, like, he's really that good. And it's kind of weird if you look back on Clemson the past few years. Deshaun Watson, as great of a quarterback as he was, he also didn't win a Heisman. But I think they're okay with that at Clemson because, they're out here collecting national championships. But I really do think that Lawrence is able to, kind of get back into this race. And one player that I would like to mention with regards to Trevor Lawrence is Cornell Powell. He's a senior. He's been, grinding out at Clemson now for 5 years. He's been playing really, really good football. And I think, with that connection that we've seen from those 2 guys the past few games, that, Trevor Lawrence could really play his way back into this. I don't think anybody should sleep on him by any means.
When you think about recency bias, though, I mean, Trevor Lawrence obviously had a great game last weekend, but we didn't see him for 2 weeks. If you look from a bird's eye view at the whole entire season, when you look at Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, do you feel like their resumes are somewhat similar, Trevor?
You know what? I'm Googling recency bias. What in the world? Using big words? That's pretty strong. Yeah, that is a problem. He didn't play for a month until he finally came back and got a game in. And that's a problem because it's not really recency bias so much as sheer volume of highlights that you saw from the other top contenders that Trevor Lawrence wasn't able to put up there on SportsCenter and on halftime shows and things like that because he didn't play for over a month.
All right, so let's look at our top 5 tiers, 15 guys. We got Mac Jones at number 1, Kyle Trask, Trevor Lawrence in tier 1, Zach Wilson, Kyle Pitts, Justin Fields in tier 2. After that, Najee Harris, Jarrett Patterson, Devontae Smith in tier 3. Then in tier 4, we got Travis Etienne, Ian Book, Zaven Collins, and finally in tier 5, Breece Hall, Jamar Jefferson, De'Aaron King, Harry. Does this look like the most beautiful rankings of these 15 players that you've ever seen?
I mean, listen, me and Trevor Matich made it, so I think that honestly, there's a lot of lists out there. I know Forbes just had their 30 for 30, but like they're not touching our tier list. I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't touch our tier. Or we'll take that plant behind Harry and we'll stick you with it somewhere. It looks like a dangerous plant. I don't want to get near that thing. It'll hurt me. I think all 6 players in the top 2 tiers are Heisman winning caliber. And if any one of those players, including Kyle Pitts, the tight end, if any one of those players wins the Heisman Trophy, I'll be just fine with it. Because to me, those 6 guys are all neck and neck, and they are all playing not just at a Heisman-worthy level, but at a Heisman-winning level.
I do want to ask you this, Harry. When you look at the tier 2 guys, is there any guy that you think could possibly break into that tier 1 and kind of shake up the party a little bit?
I still think Zach Wilson can do it. Obviously they've got this game this week up against Coastal that, BYU took a lot of heat for, not playing against Washington or whatever. But this game against Coastal is going to be one of those games where he can have a signature Heisman moment. And if the BYU snowball keeps kind of rolling here, I do think that he can get some more serious consideration.
Trevor loves that.
Yeah, I think some people might feel a little bit guilty for having BYU ranked so low because of the schedule that they had nothing to do with. When you watch them on tape, they look like a top 10 team. Right now they sit there at number 13, but like you said, Harry, they have the opportunity going against undefeated and number 18th ranked Coastal Carolina. If they can win that game, and if Zach Wilson looks really good in that potential victory, then I think a lot of people will have a little bit of regret that they didn't really have him higher before.
All right, we got 3 more college football Saturdays before they put their ballots in. So hopefully we see some very good performances out of those guys.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.